What's up, everybody? My name is Bryan McCollum, also known as BMXC, and this is Nice Minds. I am with a very, 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 very special guest, my boy, Bryan Mengy.
Thanks, Brando.
Thank you for joining me, man.
Dude, it's great to be back. One more time for a wonderful Nice Guy entertainment life segment.
Yes, sir. We actually tried to record this. What was it? It was probably December, right?
We tried really good, though. Actually, that was probably one of my best performances.
It was a good episode. It just had to go unreleased because this is when I was first starting the podcast and I was doing it over Zoom, and I had done like 2 or 3 previously probably, but I was still kind of figuring out the kinks, and I told you how I was doing it, and you're like, bro, we can't record out of Pro Tools and record the video at the same time. So I got self-conscious. Even though I had done it already a couple times, I was like, oh shit, you're right. So then I set up my laptop to record the video, and then I had my desktop recording the audio, but the video, for whatever reason, my camera was all cloudy, so the video just looked like shit. And then I didn't tell you to wear headphones, so I couldn't get the audio synced up. So it was just a disaster as far as the quality. But what we said on the podcast, hopefully we can recapture the magic, because we got into some really deep conversations.
I honestly, I was thinking about this, and I think maybe after I pass, or maybe years down the road or something, we can release it and not care about the quality, because actually I thought the quality was really good, and I think if we went even unedited and put it out there
just as a little bonus.
Yeah, I mean, it was 3 hours of content, and to trim it back, and I mean, as I said, other podcasts, they don't trim it down. So if we left everything in there and just let the listener kind of listen in the entire bogusness of my conversation with you,
Word.
there would be some good nuggets in there. And honestly, the quality, I think the quality, especially with this day and age, a lot of people are doing the same thing that, we're doing now. And there's a lot worse.
True.
As far as quality content out there. I mean, I look at shows nowadays and comparing it to what was out in the past, quality just doesn't matter anymore.
That's a good point.
It's really it's kind of disheartening, just because in all facets of life, what we were kind of talking about before up on the porch is that everything is accessible, and there's so many people doing it, and being that it's 2021, the bar has kind of been dropped as far as level of excellence.
Well, now you just need you need good content still, though. I feel like the content trumps the quality.
I don't know if we can use that word anymore.
What, content?
No, Trump.
Oh yeah, facts, bro. True.
Yeah.
It tops. Content tops quality. We'll say that. We'll say that.
Content will always be king.
Yes.
Content will always be king. Quality, sometimes takes a second best. But the only thing is that if you have kind of subpar content but amazing quality, it kind of accents each other.
Yeah.
But it goes vice versa, though, too, is that if you have amazing content but crappy quality, it's just kind of a letdown. You see the bar and you see where it could be. Maybe I see it that way just because I'm a really picky and
we're creative professionals, so
yeah. So when I look at something and it's not oh well, we could do that, we could have done that better. When I see productions, whether it be audio, video, show, concert, whatever, if I'm sitting there and I'm not if I'm not enjoying myself because I'm this could be better, then somebody failed at doing their job.
Yeah.
Because it should have been better. And I know limitations, obviously, environment, equipment, time, budget, that's always like factors,
Yep.
right? And so you always hope that people are doing their best work, but honestly, it's not that way these days. What I'm seeing a lot of people are just kind of giving up. Not really giving up, but good enough
Right.
is
just
good enough.
putting out their good enough work.
You know, like, oh, it's good
Not
enough.
striving for excellence, just
exactly.
being okay with good enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate to start the podcast off like griping about people in our society, but I there's a lot of things going on in 2021 that just like are not meeting expectations.
We'll definitely cover
what it should
that
be, and,
for sure.
Gosh, I hate to be a Debbie Downer and whatnot, but that's just kind of how it goes.
We'll definitely get into that, but at the same time, we're not on Zoom right now. We're on your beautiful property at your
Hell yeah.
beautiful lake home that you just purchased a couple years ago. Thank you for hosting, my dude. This is an amazing setting. I think not to diss anybody else that's hosted before, but I think this is the best one as far as like probably quality and setting. So I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
It's a nice sunny day. It's the first day of fall.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. It's the first
wow.
official day of fall.
And it is one of my good friend Kirky J's birthday today.
Oh, word.
It's the 22nd, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
So we'll go back since we might release that unreleased episode and we might not, but we'll give a little background. So you and I have known each other since high school.
Yeah.
And we met your junior year, my senior year, and I was we were in garage band together. And I just remember at the time my reputation around school wasn't the best because I was a shitty rapper, and like I had a shitty like performance in front of like the whole school, and I was just kind of known as a joke, I feel like, to a lot of people. And you and I just, for whatever reason, did not get along. And one of the first interactions we had, I was having a conversation over here. You were on your drum kit, just like, just twiddling away or whatever. And you had stopped and you kind of overheard this conversation. And I was talking to somebody, I can't remember the conversation, but it was about weed. And you just stopped and you're like, what do you know about smoking weed, man? I slang that shit. And I looked at you and I'm like, all right. And then I just kept talking to whoever I was talking to. And then we actually didn't become cool until, because I went back as a super senior the following year, your senior year, and I only needed to go back for the last 3 months. But before that even, I want to say it was February. I don't know why I remember the month, but me, Seth, and J-Rod were hanging out, and Seth was like, yo, let's go smoke with Mengy, man. He gets off work and, he's gonna smoke with us. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that dude. And they're like, come on, no, he's cool. And I'm like, all right. So we roll to Perkins where you were working. You get in the car, and it was like none of that had ever happened. You were like, what up, bro? And I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And I had like the dankiest of danks, and you were like, oh shit, this is some danks. And then other dude was like, those are some beasters, bro. And you were like, nah, these are danks. Like BMXC with the danks. Oh shit. And then after that, we started hanging out all the fucking time, smoking together. And then I started school as a super senior, I think the following month, I want to say. So like we'd only been really kicking it for like a month by the time I was like a super senior. And then I went back for like the last 3 months, and we kind of just became good friends in the next few months, and we graduated together, and then the rest is history. And bro, appreciate you, man.
No problem. I love you.
I love you too, man.
It's been interesting and long road. I mean, I'm 35, and you're
been 17 years, bro. Half your life, pretty much.
You're 36.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see how far all of us have come.
Yeah.
Sitting here,
right?
I would have never thought in a million years that I could have the life that I've lived um, since high school, being a musician, like being a
Straight
being a
up.
producer, wearing so many different hats, but just let's just say in general, working and living in the music industry.
Yeah.
Um,
So
and
to give everybody a little backstory, you're now a live sound engineer / studio engineer, mainly live sound, and that's where you've really excelled.
yeah, I mean, just before I get into like the whole kind of run, um, I would love to say, like, just kind of tying into what I was just saying is, uh, I think the reason why I'm at where I'm at in the progress and or like the um, kind of the story of what I've done is all because of you guys, like because of Brandon, because of Nemo, Jake, um, a lot of my friends and family, growing up and actually getting me to where we're at right now to enjoy this wonderful day and this wonderful podcast and honestly uh getting the moment to really understand that that you guys have really been a really significant part of my life and I think I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, because it all started with really Nemo and
Yep.
Jake.
I had Nemo on the podcast. It was a dope episode.
Yeah, it was pretty darn good. I actually listened to that like a month ago.
Nice.
Like 2 months ago on the way into work. It's kind of what I do now. Like on my way to work, I get to listen to other people rant and talk shit
Yeah,
about
hell
other
yeah.
people. But yeah, I got started because of really of Nemo and Jake, because that kind of intertwined, because we started recording at Jake's for a high school project, but then like Nemo initially started going to IPR,
Yep.
and then I went shortly after him just because I
Yep.
was so infatuated with what he was learning and how I was helping him kind of go to school. And so he actually asked me to come into the studio to record one night, and luckily I did that, because the next day I was actually supposed to go into the Air Force and sign my life away.
That's right. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
You said something earlier that I really don't think about, but we really all kind of got our start in this together. I mean, we all had interest in music, and you, me, and Nemo, and um, when we worked on that song, my super senior year, your senior year at Jake's house, that really like set off a lot of things for all of us. Nemo started at IPR. Then you and I, we were actually going to go to Minnesota School of Business together. We even toured
That's
it.
right.
We went with my mom. My mom took us on a tour.
R.I.P. Joanne, love you.
R.I.P. to my mom. Yeah. My mom took us on this tour to Minnesota School of Business, and we went on this tour, and the guy actually, I told this in my episode with Bob, but the guy found out that one of the founders of IPR died.
Jack Robinson.
Like,
Yeah.
as we were having the
just
tour,
passed away.
like he found
that
out
day.
like as we were taking the tour. I remember that because I remember him stopping and being like, "Well, shit," or something like that. And then, but then so after that, because at the time I didn't have a driver's license, so we were gonna work out to where I rode with you to school every day, and then I don't remember how many days later, if it was the next day or what. You're like, "Nah, man, I'm going to IPR." And at the time,
direct.
like I couldn't figure out like a bus situation, and it didn't make sense for you to come pick me up every day. So I didn't start at IPR. And
Yeah.
I just kind of held off on that because of just my ride situation. At the same time, like I was immature as fuck. It would have been just I don't think it would have worked. I think I would have ended up dropping out or something. But you went. Nemo ended up dropping out because it wasn't really for him. But you just like balls to the wall went for it at IPR.
Yep.
Like, you were recording my shit, you were recording, like, everybody. You were just, like, nonstop grinding.
Yeah, IPR was my playground. I was terrible at book work, so that's
Yeah.
why I try to tell students that are going to school. I try to encourage them to really make the school their own and to really use the time to make friends and to make colleagues and to make, good friends with the teachers. Just because if it wasn't for the teachers and if it wasn't for the people that I met, honestly, at school, and that's the reason why I have such a respect and such a profound love for school and not just YouTubing or just picking up a book and reading.
Right.
And or just spending your own money, because a lot of kids these days, school is expensive, and if you don't have a rich dad, you're paying it for it out of your pocket.
Facts.
And school is very, very, very expensive. So it's really discouraging to some kids to even go to school or to support it, just because they're like, well, why am I doing this? I can just go on mixwiththemasters.com and figure out how the pros are doing it. I mean, that's exactly what you're doing in school. But I always encourage them, no, that's not typically 100% true, because yes, you have tools and you have videos that you can go and learn a craft from, but you will not develop your own craft by watching somebody else's. You have to develop your own craft by doing it, by building your own craft, by spending hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hours given over, a
Years,
long career. Is how you get good at something. And kind of what we were talking about, kids, like accessibility is so huge nowadays to kids, where everything is accessible, but people are not enjoying the grind. Like, life to me and within my career has not been such a grind, only because I love it. And that's why, what you were saying before is like, I just would live in the studio, and that's actually what I do. I would miss class. I would miss book assignments. I would fail horribly on tests in IPR. But it was because I was in the studio working with you guys until 6 a.m.
Right.
I was developing my craft.
Yep.
When we would take those countless hours, if you added it all up, I mean, I'd have an insane bill. Like if you were to like put the amount of hours that we spent in the studio every single night, whether it be with you guys or even my clientels. And I mean, I did a bunch of records while I was in school, and I was only in school for less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Like all the work that I had accumulated before I even graduated. If you compare that to my grades, I mean, there was, kind of like every high school or elementary or even junior higher, like it really depended on the teacher. Like there was, some, classes that I did really well in, but there were some classes that I just absolutely failed. Not that I actually like failed. I did actually fail one class. It was acoustic mathematics.
Oh, damn.
And it was
I don't even
just-
think they offer that anymore.
Dude, it was insane. I
That
was
sounds
just
crazy.
bombarded by math, and the guy that was teaching it, I won't name names, but he just wasn't a suitable teacher, because like I had math in high school and I was a straight A student, but I had a great teacher. And so, yeah, I was actually a tutor helper, not like a full-on tutor in high school, but I would help kids with their math
Oh,
homework.
yeah.
Like just in the class, like
Right.
I had to help them at like study time or like even after school, just help them out with math, just because it like came really easy to me. But by the time it got to college, we were doing the same stuff, because like in Maple Grove, they had college algebra.
Yep.
And I just suffered in college, and so I'm pretty sure I failed that class, and I actually had to take it again, which
That's
is
crazy.
terrible because it was an elective. And why the hell would I ever take college math in a
That was an
technical
elective
school.
and you took it?
No, it wasn't an elective. It was like
Oh.
because it was required.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was a required
Yeah.
elective. Like
Oh, okay.
it's an elective because
Right.
it was secondary from your core courses at IPR, but for
But it was
an
one of the
associate
probably
degree,
one of the math classes that you could choose to take.
No, it was required, but I had to have it in order to graduate with an
Oh, okay.
associate's degree.
So it
Right?
wouldn't have been elective then, because electives you have to pick.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I guess it was just a second. I always considered it a secondary course just because it wasn't
Right.
it wasn't dealing with anything nerdy microphone
Yeah.
shit, you know.
Well, when I went to IPR 10 years later, which we'll get into, I'm sure, but I took an algebra class, and it was just a straight algebra class, and the teacher, like, not to, like, call him out or anything, but, like, he straight up let us cheat, basically.
Huh.
Like, we, like, used, like, this thing on, online. I can't even remember what it was called, some math thing, and I ended up with a B in that class, even though I didn't comprehend a single freaking thing.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm sure you're gonna need that, you know, for next year
Yeah.
when you need to know the square root of a rhombus
straight
or
up,
something.
yeah.
You know, real life shit.
Them rhombus square roots are important.
Yeah. Or a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
God, yeah.
What is that? The Pythagorean
Yeah.
theorem?
Dude,
Fuck.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I need to figure out how to do my taxes.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, exactly.
not what a squared plus b squared
Exactly.
equals c squared.
But yeah. So
anyways,
you just
kids, you keep studying though.
Oh yeah,
Keep studying.
keep studying.
You need that shit.
for sure. But yeah, you straight up excelled. Like you just beasted that shit, and within like if I don't know, I think before you graduated, you started running live sound, right? At Sally's? Or
Yeah,
was that right
was
after you graduated?
So yeah, right after I graduated, man, I was pretty scared, cause I had graduated, and it was January of 07. So I went to college from 05 to 07, so January to January, and I graduated. And I decided, I was just like, you know what? I got some records coming up, and I think I'm gonna quit my job. I was working at Guitar Center at the time. It put me through college, and the moment I graduated in January, like maybe the second week of January, I was like, I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to do this, and I went into the manager's office. I was like, hey, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I'll finish out this run of the 2 weeks, and then I'm going to be done. I'm going to pursue music full time. And he's like, okay, cool. And that night, I got a call from him, and was just like, yeah, we don't need you anymore. You don't need to come in tomorrow. We got your shift covered. And I'm just like,
All right.
so wait a minute, like you got my shift covered for tomorrow. Okay, so what about Thursday? This was like Tuesday or something. I was like, so what about Thursday? He's like, yeah, no, we got that covered too. I'm like, okay, so you let me go? Like, are we done? He's like, yeah, you don't need to come in at all. I'm like, okay.
All right.
Well,
Fuck
see
you too,
later.
pal.
Exactly. Well, see you later. And then the next day, I woke up and I was just like, oh shit. Well, I guess
This is it.
and here we go. And so I called up my buddy Jake Wagner, and we just started booking studio time and just try to make every phone call to every band I knew and started recording. Well, what happened is, I don't know how I came across it. I don't know if it was like MySpace or if it was like the paper. I really don't remember. I think it might have been like the classifieds. Like, people would actually take out ads in the classifieds, like looking for a drummer and
Oh yeah.
whatever. And Roster McCabe was looking for a drummer.
Band, yeah.
And so Roster McCabe, man, one of the coolest and best bands I ever worked with. Amazing musicians, but the first time I actually went and met them, I was trying out for drums. Lo and behold, Scotty
I
got
didn't
the
realize
gig.
that. Yes, our buddy Scotty did. Who I've
Yes.
known since he was 12.
Yeah. What's funny is that like I tried out, and then the next day, Scotty tried out.
That's
and then
crazy.
and then like 2 days later, they hit me. Like I told them because I knew they weren't gonna go with me just because I wasn't. They didn't give me any material to like study for. They didn't give me anything like that they wanted to play, so I was going in blind to an audition. I was just like, oh God, like I don't know what we're gonna do. So I set up my drums. We started playing, and I'm just like, God, these guys are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like wanted to do this song, and then they like wanted to do like a jam and stuff, and I was just like, it just didn't work out. So as I was packing up my drums, I was like, you know what, guys, if you don't go with me, cool. Like I want you guys to have a great drummer. However, if you ever need a sound guy or anything in the studio, I would love to work with you. You just let me know. And sure as shit, like the next week, or like that weekend or something. I'm not sure how it came about. Like either Scotty and I had a conversation. I was just like, yeah, I tried out with this band. And he's like, Rostrum Cave? And I'm just like, yeah. And he's like, I tried out for them too. I'm like, oh my God. And
That's crazy.
And he got the call like a day later.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the call. And then like a week later, he had to learn a ton of material. And then, yeah, a week later, they called me and was just like, hey, we have a gig at Sally's. It's on West Bank. It pays $50, a bar tab, all you can drink, and all the pretty girls you ever want to dance with.
For a first live gig, dude. That's fire.
Yeah. And I was just like, hell yeah. I was like, put me down. I'll be there. So every Thursday for the next year of my life, that was the gig. It was $50, food, insane amounts of beer, and all the pretty girls I could dance with.
Dude, those were fun times, man, because we'd come up, like me, Nemo, Missy, whoever else, we'd come up and kick it with you while you were doing that, and just party and just dance to Roster because we loved Roster. And that, dude, like those were some of my best memories from our early 20s, man, was like partying there, man. It was so dope.
I mean, I celebrated so I don't want to, get them in trouble or anything, but this was years ago, so it doesn't really matter. But I celebrated my 21st birthday there, and I got blackout drunk.
Yeah, because you were drinking before that there.
And I was.
When you were 20, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty funny because from day one, we were never carded. We were the band, so like, we never got carded, and so we were drinking there for like 6 months, and then, because that was kind of the winter. I remember it was the winter because I loaded into the Roster house while it was super cold. So by the time that gig ever came around, or by the time my birthday came around, my 21st birthday, we had been doing that gig for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So when my birthday did come around, they're like, oh, happy birthday. And they're like, how old are you? I'm like, 22. And they're like, okay. So
and they never found out.
No.
That's hilarious.
I got super bombed that night, and the funny thing is we would record every set. Every Thursday night we always recorded our set, and the best sounding one
was your 21st?
Was my 21st.
That's crazy because I was
like,
there that night. I remember that we came to kick it.
Yeah.
And you were fucking Mengy drunk like that. That's crazy.
Probably hugging on everybody and taking my shirt off.
He gets drunk.
Yeah, I was probably taking my shirt off and running around and whatnot.
Those were good fucking times, man.
It was fun. Yeah. I went back to Scotty's place and I slept on his floor that night. He like lived in like this little studio apartment because he was living downtown. I don't know like if he was going to McNally at the time. I feel that he went to McNally way later, like later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why. But he was living downtown. He was living downtown St. Paul, and we had to trek it all the way back to his place. Luckily, he was the sober driver. Thanks, Scotty. And yeah, I ended up like sleeping on his floor on my 21st birthday. I remember that.
Word.
That was pretty fun. I might have puked in his bed, so I actually owe him a comforter. I'm pretty sure still, but I'll get him back. I promise, Scotty.
But it's crazy because like you're somebody who I've seen like year after year after year, as far as your career goes, like just keep growing and growing and building, and then, I mean, years later, you stumble across this gig at Paisley Park, and you're like Paisley Park's live sound dude. I mean, I'm sure one of some, but like you're like their guy now.
Yeah. Well, not so much now, just because being 2021,
Yeah.
they haven't really been doing
I'm sure.
events there. So we did a gig for his birthday on June 7th of this year. And so that was my one and only time that I've been there this year.
Okay.
And I wasn't there at all in 2020, other than we did a New Year's. So we did a New Year's party from 2019 into 2020, which was probably one of the coolest events we've ever done there.
That's dope.
So it was, I can't remember the opener. Like the opener was like a local band. It was kind of like almost like a church group, and I'm brain farting on who it actually was. But they were really good, and then Andre Simone got up, and then Judith Hill got up, and then it was the Funk All Stars, or not Funk All Stars. It was the Funk Soldiers, Kirk's band, and
nice.
and they brought in the new year of 2019 into 2020.
And Kirk is the drummer for New Power Generation, right?
He was Prince's right hand man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
Kirk,
I thought, yeah.
really kind of like.
He was the one that kind of like brought you in, right?
Yeah, but really big thanks to Evan Bakke. Evan Bakke was a guy that I went to IPR with.
Oh, okay.
He was a college graduate as well. We went to school together. We remained friends. We're still friends to this day. And he was working for P at the time, and he was working on the Third Eye Girl stuff. And Prince turned to him and was just like, "Hey, man, we're doing a party tonight or tomorrow. Do you know any live guys?" And he's like, "I do." And so he gave Kirk my number, and I got a call from Kirk, and he was just like, "Hey, man, we got a gig at Paisley tomorrow night. Can you make it?" And I was just like, "Yep, I'll be there." And this was spring of 2014.
Yep.
This was like April
That's
time,
when I started
2014.
IPR, actually, yeah.
And I was gigging. It was funny because I was gigging at the time with a band called Lost Highway. And that was like one of my main gigs that year. And Lost Highway, I was just doing merch for them, like kind of like teching and just doing merch. And so I called the lead singer, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm super sorry, but Prince called, and I gotta go do this Paisley Park gig.
Hell yeah.
Like, I gotta leave you high and dry." And he's just like, "What?" And he's just like, "Dude, are you seriously gonna bail on us?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, I'm gonna."
It's
bail.
Paisley Park.
I'm like,
It's
I'm
Prince.
like, yeah, it's
Sorry.
Prince, dude. I'm gonna bail on
Peace.
you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bail on your gig. However, I'm a nice guy, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and set up everything, and I have a fill-in that will, like, fill in for me for the gig, and so I'm not going to leave you high and dry. I'm going to come and set it up, and I just have to leave by 4 because, like, load-in time for Paisley was, like, 6 or 7, but I wanted to get there early to, like, suss out the madness because I was brand new to the room. I had never been there.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was walking into. Because I called Evan, my buddy, and was just like, "Hey, so what's the situation there?" He's like, "I don't know, man. Like, you got to just come and just like check it out. Like, who knows like what works? There's always buzzes and this and that. Like, channels don't work, this, that, and the other." And sure enough,
Yeah, you brought me in to help clean it.
Sure enough, that night, the first night, I can't remember if it was Alex Rossi's band or if it was MPLS or I can't, or if it was just a DJ. I think it might have been just a DJ because they had just released Plectrum Electrum,
Oh, okay.
and or they had just released Hit and Run, the first record,
the first one.
right? They did that as a double release, and I think they were doing like an initial listening party. Was like the first gig that I had worked there.
Yeah, because they had the Paisley Park After Dark series that they were doing
Right.
like every week or
and
every
and
couple
that's
weeks
what
or
it
something.
and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like I was like the guy for those shows. And I think my first one was just the listening party for that record. And so they had a DJ there.
Super
So
easy
it
one,
was
yeah.
really easy. But
Yeah.
like when I walked in and like, try to figure out what that buzz was, there was bad connections, there was bad buzz. Like feeder was like laying on top of XLRs. There was XLRs laying on top of feeder. There was cables going this way, cables going that way. And I was just like,
insane.
Dude, this place is a mess.
Yeah.
And it's like there was like 100 cables underneath the deck
Yeah.
for like 20 channels.
I'll never forget
being
that. Yeah.
used on the console, because I got back there and I looked at the drums. There was like a keyboard rig, there was a guitar rig, Prince's guitar rig, and a bass rig. And I'm like, okay, so this is, I looked and I'm like, okay, this is like 20 channels maybe. And as you saw, there was just a mountain of cables.
Yeah,
that was
because
underneath
you
there.
brought me in and you were like, bro, I need your help. It'll be for, this amount of hours, but it's at Paisley Park. We need to clean up a bunch of stuff. Can you help? And I'm like, I've never been to Paisley Park. Fuck yeah. And I walk in and I'm just like, this is legendary. Like I can smell Prince and it smells like fucking like lavender and deliciousness.
Yep.
And I was like, it just smells like the way that I would think that Prince would smell. And but like as far as like everything else, it was a fucking shit show. As far as like they're like like you said, like cables were fucking everywhere going which way, and like it was just crazy. So we probably spent what, like 4 hours?
Yep. We spent a good 4, maybe 5 hours ripping it all apart. And then we came back the next day and put it all back together. I don't know. Did you come back the second day?
I don't know. I just went one day.
I think it was just the one. Yeah.
Because I just started IPR in like that January. So I was like even new to wrapping cables. So I just remember like going really fucking slow.
Yeah.
And
it's fine.
Yeah. It was, but it was dope. It was really dope just being there.
Yeah, we pulled everything apart. Everything. We ripped it all apart, and then I came in the next day and wired it all up. And then I was able to do a rehearsal. I did a couple other shows in there, and then we got a visitor. Hey, Barry.
Oh, it's Kitty?
Yeah, Barry is our neighborhood killer.
Oh, word.
Yeah, he's
Is
the
it
mouse killer.
your cat or?
Oh, he's an amazing
I wonder if you can
cat.
see him on the camera.
Yeah.
Probably not. But...
No, he'll probably come and say hi though.
What up, Kitty?
But yeah, we had a couple shows, and then Prince went off to Europe to do a few shows, and then he came back and completely struck the entire PA and ripped that stage out and ripped everything out. So we like didn't even use that for like more than a couple times. Hey, buddy.
What's up, Kitty?
Yeah, that's Barry. That's our neighbor's cat. He's the neighborhood mouse killer.
He just
roams
around.
Yeah, he like leaves his
Just
house
says
at
what up to
like
people.
2 a.m. and then he'll be out till like 6 a.m. like a teenager, and then he'll just go back in and fall asleep, and then he'll sleep all day, and then he'll come back out again at like 7-8 o'clock, do a little hunting, and then go back in for dinner, and then
That's amazing.
come
I don't know
out
if
for
they'll
the
be able to
night.
see him at all.
He's the bomb.
Probably not. It's probably too low. But yeah, you can probably hear the birds too.
Yeah.
Giving it the ambiance, the feel of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd only went to Paisley Park twice, and the second time you hired me to help with this Justin Timberlake album listening party for the Super Bowl. And it was just a setup, and it was crazy because like we get there and there was like maybe like 30 people involved in that like whole ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't expect you to be basically running the whole thing. Like we had like the morning meeting and you were like the one running the show, like as far as like telling everybody what to do and shit. And I was just like, damn, Mengy, like you are the fucking man. You are a fucking boss, bro. Like that
Well,
was crazy. That was dope.
yeah.
And and then with the stuff you've done with Paisley, man, and like you had people like in Prince's entourage at your wedding. It was like the purple section basically in your wedding, and I was just like, bro, just proud, man. Just a proud homie, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Like you've just been killing it over these years, man.
I mean, to go from puking at Sally's
Right?
to
And
where
running
I'm at
around
now.
naked. It's Missy's swimming
and
pool.
Missy's pool and her dad just shaming me.
Did he catch you?
Oh yeah, well, he didn't catch me in the act because I think he was too embarrassed to like come out and shut the thing down. But Missy went in that night to like go grab, water, or go grab something, and her dad was like, "So what in the hell is this guy doing?"
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you knew what was going on.
Yeah, just so many freaking days and nights of that.
Yeah, I
Like-
guess just kind of getting back to that. I mean, we went so chronologically, I guess if you want to go through this, and we went from Sally's, then I went to the Dinky Towner, and dude,
R.I.P.
the
Dinky
Dinky
Towner, yeah.
Towner, man, that was like one of my favorite joints.
Dude, I love that.
Like,
the Dinky Towner. That was like the hip hop spot, bro.
yeah, not even that,
Not
'cause
just hip hop, but I mean,
just music
in
in
general.
general, like up and coming, even big artists. I mean, dude, Idea would come in and
Yeah.
just drop, just drop
Idea
in and be
watched
like,
me
"Oh."
perform. Like I've performed in front of Idea. I almost shit my pants at the Dinky Towner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be the first. I mean, a lot of people shit their pants at the
Yeah.
Dinky Towner.
Yeah.
But it was just such a cool spot. Like any person that wanted to book that room was available.
Yep.
Like we never discriminated against anybody, like against music,
Right.
against culture, anything. Like everything was really welcome. I mean, we even did like karaoke Sundays. Like it was funny. Even some of the Sundays there was like nobody there, so like me and the bartenders would like drink
Yeah.
and have breakfast and sing karaoke to each other. That was absolutely unreal.
So many great
Um,
nights at that venue, man.
They had the best breakfast. The bacon, if you remember, was like this big by like this thick.
I don't know if I ever had their breakfast. I don't remember
Dude.
if I was ever there that early.
No, they serve breakfast all day.
Oh, it was 21st.
I'm saying like you could
when they
get
were serving.
Tex-Mex, like
Probably
the
then.
best Tex-Mex
Yeah.
in town. I mean, it was like world famous for their Tex-Mex, and they would serve it at 2 a.m. Because they were open.
Oh yeah.
They were open till 2, and I just
Yep.
remember like all the artists that would like come in and just like rock the mic and then just eat a fat plate at
Yep.
like 1 a.m. Midnight, and then they always had their kitchen open. It wasn't like days like now. It's like where places shut down at 10 o'clock,
Right.
and nothing is open. That's what kind of that's the one thing that I really miss about living in this day and age is like we'll get off a gig or something like late at night. I'm like, oh, what's open? Not even gas stations. I went to the Holiday on Maple Grove Parkway, and it was closed.
Really?
Yeah, like the main gas station in Maple Grove, was closed at midnight. I was
That's
just
crazy.
like, gosh, this is just dumb. And like a lot of I really feel bad and I really feel sorry, and it's just so heartbreaking to know like the labor forces and like businesses are just so down just because nobody's going to work
Yeah.
anymore.
It's a tough situation, man. I mean, especially like because my mom died from COVID, so it's just like it's just been a whirlwind. Like I don't even know what to think still. Like I don't even know what to freaking think about the whole thing. I still can't think about it. I just still can't comprehend everything. I just try my best to, keep myself and my family safe and stuff like that. And it's hard to have like when especially when somebody you're that close with, you see how the effects of it and you see how they pass and you're in the room with them as they pass. Like it does something to you and you just don't view the whole thing in the same way. So it's just like, well, I feel for all the businesses, but also like the lives, man. Like, I mean, it's affected everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, like everybody in so many different ways, from businesses to personal to like people's just everything. So it's
Yeah.
just crazy. Like I still don't know how to wrap my head around the whole thing, and it's hard to even have any sort of, I don't know, opinions on it other than just like what the fuck,
Yeah.
like because everything is just so what the fuck about it, you
Yeah.
know. I don't know. So yeah, man, it's been a whirlwind last couple years because I mean they shut you down completely with live shows. I mean that shut down fucking everything in 2020.
Yeah, I guess I just don't really want to talk about it, just
Yeah, I
because
totally understand.
it's just such a letdown as far as, and it's such a
There's so many varying opinions on it, and that's the thing.
yeah.
It's like everybody has an opinion on the way that things should be. I don't really.
I don't even. I'm saying, Brandon, like I don't like trying not to like state facts or anything, but like even just like talking about it, it's scary
Yeah,
nowadays that people can voice their opinions and get shut down.
right.
Um, and like to be in this format, like talking about it, what's really jacked up is that if people speak their minds, let's just take a simple example like Nicki Minaj, like her stating her mind, pretty much basically saying F the government, and they like blacklisted her, and now everybody's just like, mongering her. And
They took it too far. I mean, what she said was kind of funny though. I mean, with the whole like
well, that's what I'm saying.
the way that she like worded it and stuff. But I don't think she should be. I like Nicki Minaj. I fuck with her music. Like I don't think she should be canceled for stating what she
right.
stated. You know.
Well, so that's what I'm getting at is that like people can get canceled so easily now,
Yep,
like that.
Like that.
By just having an opinion. So
Yep.
your opinions get you in trouble now, which is fucking stupid because anybody can have
An
conversation,
opinion, yeah,
and an opinion,
right?
and think what they want to think.
Yep.
And this is why this whole mandates and vaccination and this, that, and the other, you look at it from an outsider's perspective. Now, paying respect to what has happened within the last few years and how it has affected everybody's lives. Not to sound like a conspiracy theorist or whatnot, but when you see the government shutting down people's opinions, like freedom of speech for making those opinions based around a subject, something's going on. Kind of like, anybody that spoke out against like 9/11 or like anything that's going on like within the Iraq war,
Right.
Afghanistan, this, that, and the other, like stuff is getting clouded.
Yeah.
And you see it. And not a lot of people notice it just because you only pay attention to Fox News.
Right.
Or you only pay attention to this CNN outlet. You
right.
know, you either got CNN or you got Fox
News,
right?
Yeah.
And it's just
Two
like both of them are fucked.
Two completely different viewpoints. But I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like when you get, and like when you have Fox News and when you have CNN, you get all these opinions like everywhere, then people don't know what the truth is. They don't know what the facts are. And so that's why like I was very big like before my mom passed about like stating my opinions on like, this and that and this and that and like about COVID and all that stuff. And, I'm pro-vaccine, I'm pro, keeping safe, I'm pro social distancing, all that stuff. But I don't feel like preaching it anymore because like after going through what I went through, it's such a personal thing that it's like if I were to get mad at everybody with a differing opinion, I would be mad at fucking everybody all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't really fight it. Like it's not going to change what's going on. So I want to do my part by like having one-on-one conversations with people, civil conversations with homies and stuff about it. And it's just when opinions get into it, and when people start stating differing facts and all that stuff, that's when things just get murky, you know.
Yeah.
Like things just get because it's like there is, you know, no clear facts on like what people need to do, you know, because there's just this person says this thing, this person says that, so it's like I don't know, man. I just feel for everybody right now. You know, it's a fucking rough fucking time. You know.
Yeah. I do know that life is good, and reflecting on where we've come from and like where we're about to go. Um I hope that we can stay the route as far as the progress that we made over the last year, and shows coming back and people actually getting back into a room and like people actually working, because if we don't keep working and we don't keep the circulation of the economy running, I mean, it's still what I was getting to before, the labor being down. If people don't get back to work, if our government just keeps giving money, like I'm really surprised. I get a tax credit every month for it's called a child tax credit. There are people starving in this world that actually need this money. I have no say in it, right? And they're probably going to take it away from me now that it's out there. But I get a child tax credit every month because of what's going on in the world now. That's
Right.
messed up. Like, so what I try to do is I try to donate that money. I give a lot to charity.
That's good.
And the thing is like there are people that don't deserve it, like myself, that are using it to their full advantage, to go buy whatever they want, to go on a vacation, or give it to whoever if they want, or keep it and go buy a box of cigars. I don't know, whatever. That's their prerogative. But the thing is that like people are choosing not to go back to work as well because they are getting welfare, or they're getting the unemployment check still.
Yeah.
My unemployment ran out, but there's still other people that are actually still getting unemployment. And so why would they ever go back to work when they're making just enough by sitting on their butt playing video games all
Yeah,
day,
that is a problem. But I also think it comes down to there's another side of it where, and I know that a lot of companies can afford it, but like companies don't pay good wages, you know? So like people are like, well, this company doesn't fucking pay well, so why even fucking work? So it's it's a weird fucking like balance, like that's going on right now, like, or unbalance, I should say. Cuz like jobs do need to pay better. Like most jobs pay fucking shit. So I don't know, man. It's a tough situation. I don't feel like there's any sort of clear answers to it yet.
Yeah.
You know.
All I know is that the gas station down the street is hiring at $18 an hour.
Oh, really?
When I was a kid and I could make
That was like,
$18 an hour, I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah.
McDonald's starting is $15 an hour. If I was 15 years old and I was making $15 an hour, you know what we would do? We would buy the biggest bag of weed in the fucking world,
Yeah.
Like, if I was 15 and I could go into McDonald's and make $15 an hour, like, that's absolutely insane.
Right.
But again, now a sheet of wood is $48 for a 4x8 sheet of plywood. That's insane. It used to be $15 in like 2019.
Right.
They say, oh well, we can't manufacture enough to keep up with the demand and this, that, and the other. No, they can. It's just, why would they ever choose to lower their price? They're making quadruple,
right.
quadruple the amount that they were making. So why would they ever go back to being $15 a sheet if they know that they're going to make it no matter what?
See,
The
it's
demand is
all
always
fucked.
there.
Yeah.
You know, nothing has changed. Like, yes, there has been things that have changed, but nothing has changed. Like, you have supply, you have demand, you have a factory that makes it. COVID hit. Now, like, yes, you know, the labor pool has gone down, but all these companies and all these corporate companies that that I work for and do these shows for, they've brought back almost 98, if not 100% of their crew back on staff, if not full-time, part-time, and I'm not saying every company has done that,
Right.
but like if you're in a manufacturing plant, they have definitely brought their entire labor source back only because the supply is there and they're so backed up. Like you put in an order for, say, siding, you might get it next year.
Yep.
Now I don't know why, like obviously like the year set them back and so they had so many orders throughout. But yeah, the price, I mean, the price will not change. And there's been a lot of economists, right?
Yeah, economists, yeah.
That say that it's going to go down, but I really don't think it's going to.
Yeah, it's
like if
crazy.
I was in business and I charge a price, and because of the demand, is so high, I'm going to charge this price now, right? Well, now a few years go by and I'm like, maybe I should lower my price again. It's like, no, I'm just going to wait until like those gigs, like it's kind of like what I'm doing now. I'll get calls for like, some guys, they're like, hey, I can only pay you $100. Can you come, do this, bar show? And I'm like, no, like that's not what I do anymore. Like that's not in my repertoire just because like, not to sound arrogant or anything, but like I'm past that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and like I know that if I turn this gig down,
Right.
I know I'm going to get my rate
Yep.
somewhere else,
Yep, exactly.
at some other gig. So like there's just no point in me accepting that $100 gig because I know I'm probably going to get a call the next day for that same date giving me my day rate.
Right.
So, that's just the nature of the business.
Yeah.
So going back to wood, being $48 a sheet, I don't think that's ever going to change.
Yeah.
Because it's been like that for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
So why would they ever lower it?
Yeah.
The demand for it will always be there.
Right.
Like people are not going to stop building houses or stop buying wood because there's not going to be like a different product that is going to undercut them,
Yep.
Like there's just not, you're going to go buy a 2x4 and that's a 2x4, So whatever price that they, charge, you're going to go and you're going to buy a 2x4.
Yeah.
You're just going to, you're going to say a lot more F-bombs when you get the bill, rather than being like, okay, I can afford this or.
Yeah. And I think it just comes down to, like I said, like there's just no clear-cut answer for any of it. And I wish there was. I wish there was some unifying freaking thing that we could say, like, this is how we solve this problem. This is what's going to get it through it, and everybody can agree on it, and we can just beat it. But it's like there's always going to be this, like, differentiating opinion, like, one person has this opinion, this person, and it's like group think, like, this group of people thinks this group. So it's overwhelming for me. So like especially going through what I've gone through, so like all of it is just overwhelming. So half the time, like I really don't even get into it. I'll talk about my mom and, that type of stuff. But like the whole COVID conversation, it's hard. Because it's like when it hits you personally, and I know for you personally, it hit your business. You weren't fucking working all year, like really hit you. So like you're coming at from that perspective. I'm coming from it from a completely different perspective. So like you have all of these differentiating opinions on this major problem. It's just it's hard and it's exhausting, and I wish there was something that we could all just come to an agreement on how to handle it. So, because I feel like there's got to be, but it just there's all these factors that go along with it. So, I don't know. And people can talk about it all freaking day until they're blue in the face, but
Yeah.
it's like what is it gonna do?
Yeah.
So
So we get back to our
Exactly.
regularly scheduled talk about
Paisley Park.
No, Dinky Towner.
Oh, Dinky Towner, yeah. Yeah.
Where Eric Burton used to hang from the pipes.
That was crazy. That was dope. His guitar
Dude.
fucking playing, like he made that shit. Like oh my god, dude, like those Parallax shows, like for anybody that is watching that has heard of the band Crunchy Kids, they used to be 3 of those guys used to be in a band called Parallax.
Parallax.
And with another guy, and
808.
They were the best there. Like they were Dinky Towner, bro, for me. Like
Yep.
when I think about those shows, I think about Chance York, Eric Burton, Marcus, and Tyler.
And they would sell out like every time that they played. There would be like bus loads coming from Mankato because they were going to Mankato State at the time.
Yep.
And there would be bus loads coming from Mankato just to see the show, and then they'd bus back. And it was, it was sweaty. The Dinky Towner peeps, if you don't know about it, it was this dinky bar.
Yeah, it was a hole in the wall dinky bar.
In
Dinkytown,
in
college
Dinkytown,
area, yeah.
where Dinkytown back in the day. Now today it's skyscrapers and high rises,
Yep.
all brand new, all remodeled, super high end. But like back in the day, it was like college party town.
Yep.
And it was like, the streets smelled like piss
Yep.
and beer. It was absolutely amazing. And Carnage would do shows. Dude,
Yep, Carnage
one of the
Executioner,
best
yep.
shows that I've ever seen, I think, in my life. But there was him and Bill Mike Band. It was Steve Gould on drums, Chris
I've never heard of
Morrissey
that
on
band.
bass.
I don't remember them.
Dude, it was nasty. There was only and what's crazy is that at that show, there's only maybe 25, 50 people there. And this place could fit maybe 300 tops, but it was nuts to butts. It was this, the pit could only hold 50 people.
Yeah.
And you were it was the size of this patio,
Crazy.
But so when you get a good show like Parallax in there, you couldn't move. It was a C.
Yeah.
You
it was,
could not move
it was
whatsoever.
Small,
yeah. For that Bill Mike show, it was absolutely unreal because Bill Mike, he was the guitar player. And Steve Gould is probably one of my favorite drummers, top 5 favorite drummers out of Minnesota. But yeah, with Carnage the Executioner, it was unreal. That was one of my most memorable shows at the Dinky Towner. And then Parallax always played a ton. There was this monthly Prof and Roz would do drunk with Prof and Roz.
Back
and
when
so
Prof wasn't a solo artist, he had Roswell.
Yeah.
Who I don't even know what that guy does now.
I don't know. But they would take a drink after every song, and they'd perform 12 songs or something. So by the end of it, you were supposed to be the same, drunk with Prof and Roz. The thing is you were supposed to drink with them.
Yep.
And they'd do challenges and stuff. And so by the end of it, it was just an S show.
Yeah.
But it was always super fun just because Ant from Atmosphere would show up and drink his Budweisers and have his food, and everybody would just show up, and it was always a Minneapolis, hip hop hang.
Yeah.
So,
I remember Greaves was there. Greaves was a dick when I met him.
Okay.
God, I just want to get into that for a second.
I thought he was based in Seattle. I thought he was a Seattle dude.
He is based in Seattle,
but he would
he had
come
a
and
bunch of friends.
perform.
I mean, he's on Rhymesayers now, and they're based in Minneapolis. So he would always had friends in the underground hip hop scene here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, all rhyme sayers probably since back in the day, and like just a bunch of locals. And he was at the Dinkytown, and we actually had a few interactions on MySpace because I had my Bam Bam Beats, you know, like I had beats up, and we talked on there, and like I think I remember him liking my beats. And so like I went up to him and was like, "Yo, what's up, man?" And we met on MySpace and talked a little bit on Bam Bam Beats, blah blah blah. And he just like kind of looked at me, and then he just started talking to his friend. Was just like, "Yeah, remember Bam Bam blah 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 blah," and like was talking about like some other Bam Bam. There's like a wrestler or something, but like he like completely like ignored me and like you know talked to us. I'm like, "All right, fuck you then." So like I like it completely spoiled Greaves' music after that. I think that was like 2009-ish, probably like right before it shut down. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. So I don't look at Greaves the same after that. But no, I mean, but
maybe you have that way. Everybody hates you,
right.
And then they like end up
and
loving
then they end
you.
up loving me once they get to know me. Yeah, I guess I just have that fucking effect of that reputation.
This is a disclaimer to everybody. You're gonna hate Brandon, and then you're gonna actually love him even more. Just give him like a week.
Just have a conversation with me.
Yeah,
just have
exactly.
a conversation.
Just give him a try.
Just give me a try.
Just give him a chance.
I'm a nice guy. Come on,
you'll love him.
Come
exactly. On. He's really a nice guy. Actually.
Really, for real. But yeah, man. I mean, those days were fucking incredible because then 2009 when Dinkytown shut down, we were actually recording from like I want to say like February of that year till like May. We were recording my album Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, we did your record.
Yep.
Jay Gatz. I did Parallax's record, and then I did Dro's record, like because you like produced like a bunch for Dro.
Yep.
And then I like recorded with a band called Mellow Roar. And then Bloodroot Mother, and I like record all those cats out of Trocaderos, which was my next job, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah, and then you did Trocaderos,
Yeah, so yeah, I can't even remember the years, but like I graduated IPR.
It was a short time span, man. You grew in like 2 years. It was crazy.
I worked at Sally's, then I went to Dinkytowner, and that was my first like live sound job, really, because like I was like the house guy there, right? So I was doing the Dinkytowner, and I was only there for a year. It was weird. Like I was on a year trip. Like I only did jobs for a year. I worked at Guitar Center for a year. I worked at Dinkytowner for a year. I worked, even before then, I worked at Perkins for a year. I worked at Applebee's for a year, and before that, I worked at Perkins again. I went from Perkins, Applebee's, Perkins, and then Burger King. My first job, I worked there for a year. It's weird. Like I worked
like
a year
time
everywhere
span,
I was,
all
the way up until like now. Like a couple companies I work for now has been like years,
right?
Which, thank you you guys for employing me for longer than that, and I haven't fired myself since then.
It's crazy because 09. You were working at Trocaderos, and we finished my album Mr. Nice Guy. We found out like as we were wrapping up Mr. Nice Guy within the last days that Dinkytowner shut down.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that news. We were at Jake's when we found out, and we were like, "Holy shit, that's crazy!" So when in that time, because you moved to Austin,
I moved to Austin, Texas. I was playing in a band.
Like when in that time did you move?
Well, so before that, like 2008, I recorded my band, Castle, and I recorded the band, and I wasn't in the band at the time, and then we had finished the record. And they hit me up. It was like a Tuesday, and they hit me up and was just like, "Hey man, we got a show Friday. Can you come and fill in for Jeff? Because Jeff's MIA. Jeff was the drummer at the time. He's like, he's MIA. We can't find him. I don't know. We have a show Friday. We need you to fill in." And I was just like, "Okay. Like I know all your material. No problem." And so we rehearsed Wednesday, we rehearsed Thursday, and then played Friday and killed. And then Brownie is going
is
after
now a dog
bunnies
gonna come up and say what up?
Actually, that's Mocha. Mocha's chasing bunnies.
Love it. Anybody can interrupt this podcast because we outside.
We out in the country, yo.
We out here.
Anyways, so Crush It, and then I started being in a band, and we did our CD release party January of 2009, and we had such a successful Minnesota following that we had the bright idea of moving to Austin, Texas, and doing the same thing. Which I don't know why we couldn't have just toured,
Yeah.
like any normal band
Right.
would. Like, hey, let's go on tour and build a following in Texas. No, we have to fucking move, leave everything behind, pack up all of our stuff, and move our band. I lived on the floor for like 9 months, but between that time, I was flying back to do your record and to like mix, because like we had recorded a bunch of it.
Just finished. I think you finished the mix and then you left. I think. I don't think you came back to finish the mix. Because we finished the album. We got it mastered. You moved, and you had already helped me book my album release party at Trocadero's.
Yep.
And you were gonna fly back to fucking run sound for my
for
show
the
that you
release
booked.
party.
You helped me book, and we had fucking. I got like tons of flyers for it. We had just been promoting like crazy. I mean, we were like, this is going to be a dope turnout. And weren't you at the airport getting ready to fly back?
Yes.
And you told me that Trocadero shut the doors?
I got a call from my buddy that was there at the time, Ryan Guanzin. He like took over my gig when I left. And he hit me up and was just like, hey, dude, Trocadero's is closed. I'm just like, well, yeah, it's like 11 o'clock. Like they don't
you're thinking
open
like literally
until like
like
noon.
closed for the night
like
or whatever. Or
they
day.
don't open until lunchtime, because they usually didn't open until like lunchtime, and it was like probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I'm like, yeah, they don't open until like lunch hour. And he's like, no, dude, like I'm here, and there's a sticker on the front like Trocadero's is closed, peace out, like up for sale.
Yep.
And so I was just like,
that was devastating.
Okay. And I was in the airport. Yeah, I was in the airport.
I will never forget that. You called
me.
So
I called you, and I was just like, dude, Trocadero's is closed.
Like, what? But bro, if it weren't for that though, like it's like everything leads to something. Like if it weren't for that, like you couldn't. I think you still ended up coming back. We just partied or whatever. And
I came back for the week.
Yeah, so you came back for the week. We hung out a bunch, but I was like, "Fuck, I got to figure out a release party." But if it weren't for that, like I probably wouldn't have gotten into booking shows, because I ended up booking it myself.
Yep.
Because Barfly ended up giving me a shot. Like I tried, I don't remember how many venues. I was sending emails like crazy, and Barfly was like one of the only ones that was like, "Oh shit, this is promising." And there was like a $200 deposit. You get it back if you make, however many, whatever. So I put down in the $200 deposit, and we got like $150 through the door, which I think we probably would have done like $300 if it would have stayed at Trocadero's. But needless to say, that was my first time booking, and that led to like me basically like running Nice Guy Entertainment and being known for my booking.
Yep.
For a while.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
It's funny that you say everything happens for a reason, because that's been kind of like my motto my entire life. But that week that show got canceled back in June, it was my birthday week. And because like we had planned it like June 29th.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Or 27th or something.
Yeah,
like it was that.
It was between 26th and 29th. I know that for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was not only like my birthday celebration, and back in the day, you know me, like we would rage hard on my birthday. We would bring like 100 people just alone together to like rage. We'd always do 4th of July.
Yep.
But in between there, within that week, like before the 4th of July party, that weekend, Brianna was doing a party, and Nemo was spinning it. Like Brianna was doing like a benefit party, like for, I can't remember what the benefit or what the foundation was, but we went to Bree's house, and I showed up, and my wife was there.
Well, that's when you started dating Amy, yeah.
And what's funny is we actually went to the studio like that week. We went to the studio. We were either mixing the Mellow Roar record we were working on. We were working on some record. I can't remember what record we were working on. It might have been Dro. I can't remember. But we were at the gas station, at the Holiday gas station. and we ran into Amy.
Yeah, I remember
And
that. Yeah, for
and
sure.
I was
Yeah,
filling up
for sure.
gas,
I
and
think we were
Amy
working
comes
on.
out, and I'm walking, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I remember
"Damn,
that.
baby
We were
girl,
together.
what's up?"
Yeah, I do remember that for sure.
And
Yep.
we just started talking, and I was like, Amy, and yeah, we ran into each other, and I was just like, "Hey, what are you doing like Friday night?" And she's like, "Oh, I think I'm going over to Brianna's," and I'm just like, "Awesome, I'm gonna be there as well." And we got into the car, and I'm sure I said some vulgar stuff.
Probably. That's your style.
But that Friday, we went to Brianna's house, and I
Yeah.
made it my point to like plant that seed. And so like the entire night I was talking with Amy, schmoozing the entire night, and I walked her back to her car like a gentleman that I am. And yeah, I seduced her. I gave her a big fat
Word.
smooch, and like we made out at her
Yeah.
car, and kind of the rest was history. I actually invited her up to the cabin then the following weekend. So that was like Friday, Saturday, like birthday weekend, and then 4th of July is always the next weekend after that. So we kissed at Brianna's, and then we kind of like had a weekend together at the cabin for 4th of July. And that was like the first weekend where we were just like, hey, I kind of like you. And what was weird and what was funny, and like I felt so bad for her because my family is just so overbearing sometimes when they meet new people, like just thrown to the wolves. Like my Uncle Jerry, like I don't know if you remember him, but
I have an Uncle Jerry as well.
yeah,
and-
Uncle Jerry was just like, "Oh, who's this?" Because like we were sitting next to each other. He's like, "Oh, is this your girlfriend?"
Oh, jeez.
And like I was just
You
like,
always gotta have
"No."
one of those
And
uncles
she's
or
just like,
something.
she's just like,
Jeez.
jeez, like the whole time there was like my Uncle Jerry, my Uncle Don, my parents even asked, like, I was just like, "Oh, who's this girl?" and blah blah blah. And I probably embarrassed her probably like 10 or 15 times, but like luckily she didn't mind, just because like she had friends around, and like
Yep.
we just had like a ton of people there, and it was just a party. So it wasn't as bad, but we like kind of made it official. Like official but unofficial, because we didn't like, we knew each other. We were friends. Like we had known each other since like '03. So from high school, and like, we were all in the same friend group. And then like I went off and did like my whole like rocker thing, and she like went to, she was going to school at the time. And we kind of just like fell into each other's laps, you know? And then I flew home, and I slept on the floor for another like 5 months. I think it was up until September is like when I actually moved back
Yeah,
from
I think it was only.
from Austin.
So was it only like a few months then?
April to
Oh, was it April that you moved? Then
March.
Oh, wow.
Because we went
So
down
you
for
had-
South by.
Oh, then if you moved, I don't remember you moving, because then we did, because we didn't finish Mr. Nice Guy until like May. So, but that
April,
wouldn't
May.
make any sense.
I think I might have flown back twice. Like
To
when
finish my album?
when I was in Texas, I flew back twice. I know.
Oh, okay.
I know I flew back, yeah, I know I flew back twice, just because I thought it was just dumb that I was flying back so many times to work, because I had to, because I wasn't making a living in Austin.
Yeah.
Like me
all
being
of your
stubborn.
old network was here. Yeah.
Exactly. And also when I quit Guitar Center, when I put in my 2 weeks for Guitar Center, I vowed, and funny thing, I still have kept my promise. I vowed never to take like a job that I wasn't happy about. Like I wasn't going to go to like a holiday. I wasn't going to go back to a Guitar Center. I wasn't going to go get a job that I didn't want to do if it wasn't music. Like at that time I was really stubborn and I just didn't want to do anything but music. So, so in order to pay for hot dogs and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that I was living off of, I had to fly home.
Yeah.
And work on records. But in the end, by the time September came, I had $50 left in my account.
Damn.
I had like run up a credit card bill. I actually had like 4 credit cards at that time that had like $4,000 max credits. And I think I ran up all of them to like maxed out. So I had like a $16,000 like bill, credit card bill, that I wasn't able to make minimum payments on, which I like closed. I like ruined my credit. I had $50 left in my account, and I was like, I had a choice. I was like, either A, I stay in Austin and I still give it a try, and I was fighting with the band at the time. Now I'm like really good close friends to them again. I love Tyler and I love Hutch, and you know, I really loved and value my time, but with them. But that was like my rock bottom moment, because I just remember like, yeah, I was sleeping on the floor. Like I had an air mattress that I moved down there with, and that popped.
Oh shit.
Or like kept deflating, so I'd have to like inflate it like 2 times a night. And by the end of the course, since I was there for like 5 months, by the time September came around, it just would not stay afloat.
Yeah,
so I was
absolutely.
like sleeping on the floor.
Damn.
In my bedroom, and that shit sucked because it was just rock hard.
Right.
And anyways, but so yeah, I had $50, and I was like, you know what? I had the Chevy Celebrity at the time, and it got 35 miles a gallon, which car manufacturers, y'all still suck.
Yeah.
Because I was getting 35 miles a gallon in my 89 Chevy Celebrity. It is now 2021. And granted, we have electric cars, but still my truck or a standard car, SUV, only gets 20 miles a gallon. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Little plug there. Yeah. So anyways, I packed up the car, and we got evicted. Technically, we got evicted, but we essentially broke our lease. Like, it was like, I told the band, I was like, look guys, I gotta move back. I don't have any money. Like, it's just not gonna work out.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, cool. So everybody moves back. Like Tyler rides with me. He goes to his dad's, which was in Nebraska at the time. And then Hutch was living in South Dakota, but he had the van, so he drove separate. He had all his stuff. I packed up my car and I drove back. I ran out of gas in my driveway. I made it up halfway up my driveway, and I ran out of gas.
Damn.
And I just parked my car there, and my dad comes home. It was like late at night or something like that. My dad like wakes me up, and he's just like, why'd you park like halfway up the driveway? And I was just like, I ran out of gas. And he's
That's
like,
crazy.
Oh, shit. He's like,
Right
oh,
when you
man.
got home. That's
He's like,
insane.
He's like, well, I got to go to work, because it was like 5 a.m. He's like, well, I got to go to work, so you got to move your car. I'm like, okay. So I just threw it in neutral and just like backed it down the driveway and just parked it on the road, at the Elk River house.
Yeah.
Just parked it on the road, and he lent me like $20 or something like the next day to like to go fill up. Yeah, we like went and filled up a 5-gallon bucket at the gas station right down the street, and brought it back and filled her up.
Damn.
And I had gas for the week or whatever, and then I was back. And so I can't remember. So I started at Trucadero's, and I hadn't had a house gig since then. I think then one of my like main gigs, I was at this bowling alley, Delano Lanes.
Oh yeah.
And it was called something else. I can't remember what the bar was called, but yeah, it's Delano Lanes now. So I had like a house gig there, and then I started working at the poorhouse. And like between that time, I was making records, so I always like split my time like kind of 50-50. Like I was making records and I was running live sound, but not until like I started working for like some bands as well, like the Truckers, and then Lost Highway, and then now fast forward 5 years, coming from Truckaderos being 2009, now you bring it up to 2014, which was I swear like 2014 2015, kind of like it was like such a flip, you know.
Yeah.
It
That's
it
when
was
I started IPR finally, and that's when like Nice Entertainment started. So
yeah.
that was for me too. That was
But I totally forgot like the whole touring days. I went on tour with New Medicine. Like
oh
that was
yeah,
all
yep.
2010, 2011,
That was
2012,
right after you got back.
2013.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that whole stint, 2010, 11, 12, 13 was all New
you were
Medicine
running live
touring
sound for
and
them
Four
on
Letter
tour. Yeah,
Lie.
and Four Letter Lie.
And man, it's
Yep,
crazy to like think like I gotta write a book because these podcasts I love sitting and talking with you,
dude.
but like there are moments that like I kind of skip and there's so much that I kind of want to say and like you know me the
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 long-winded
the the Mengy
responses.
rants.
Yes.
Yeah, and I go off on so many tangents. Like we would be here all day, which I don't even know what time it is. Like my
It's
wife has got
six
dinner.
oh six. I think we started at like
Jesus.
4.
Yeah, I gotta write a book about this because like 2011, man, all the touring stories. I could like go on for 3 hours just
Straight
about
up.
all the stories from like my touring days, from
Yeah.
like those 2010 to 2014. And then I was going to fast forward in 2014. I was working for Lost Highway and the Truckers. Like, I mean, they kept me really busy. So, like,
You were
getting back,
busy as hell, man, because that's when I mean, we didn't stop hanging out, but like I saw you a lot less, like when you got back home, basically after 2010, and that's when I started dating Becky. But like I saw you a lot less because you were so busy.
yeah,
I mean, you just got hella busy with like touring and live sound and all that stuff, and then I actually, because I was thinking about it for years, but I finally, because of you and because I always wanted to go there, started at IPR in 2014, and I started my journey of like building what's I'm still building and figuring out what it is, but Nice Entertainment, and um it was all because of you, man. I mean, like seeing what you did just really inspired me, and I wanted to kind of have a not the same experience, obviously, because we're two different people, but I wanted a similar experience to just grind at IPR. And I'm glad that I waited 10 years, to be honest, because I mean, if I would have gone when I was 19, like I was thinking about, I feel like I wouldn't have been responsible, man. I was like
yeah,
the one in our group that like I didn't have a driver's license, I didn't have a full-time job, like I was working part-time. Like I just feel like I would have fucked off. I just would not have been responsible. But as an adult, I was like 20, I turned 29 right after I started IPR, and I killed it, bro. I mean, like I'm still I was like you, like I took that inspiration and I just like stayed in the studio. I started Nice Entertainment, like a record label, and I fucking made records and recorded sounds and just have massive stuff that I'm still able to use to this day because I spent so many years, like as I went part-time, so I ended up, I think, just under 4 years in my whole IPR experience, but I was able to use their studios for like 6 years. So in that time, like I just built a whole like library and started a career. Like it's been a slow start, but I'm finally able to make money off of what I do finally,
it's
and
awesome.
I'm still working a day job, so I haven't quite made that leap yet. Maybe I should just do the Mengy route and just be like, I'm done. I'm making a vow to just live off the music, but I haven't quite made it there. But it's because of you that I went that route, and I just really appreciate your that inspiration and that, motivation and and just always being just a positive light in my life, man. It's been it's been a crazy journey. It's been almost what 17 it's been 17 years now. It's almost 20 years
Wow,
since we began this journey.
that's insane. That's
Insane.
even like insane to think about.
Right.
You know, as time goes by, and just to kind of see and like reflect, it's kind of conversations like this just to see like how much, you know, how much we've all kind of grown,
Grown and
and
evolved,
to
yeah.
see like, because when I look back, even watching my son, my son is kind of like a timestamp, right? Like he's 5, and
Mhm.
he's gonna be 6 here soon.
Yep.
And then you think back, it's like, man, that was just yesterday.
Yeah.
But then you think about what you've done in the last 6 years. And then you think about like our conversations like, man, what about 2012 or like 2009 or whatever? And I'm like, man, that feels kind of like yesterday. And it doesn't seem that long ago. It really doesn't. It
When
really
you think
does
back
not
to it, yeah.
seem that long ago. But then you look at it like I had $50,
And you have this now,
and
bro.
I have
like
this now.
that's
Like,
crazy.
it's honestly, it's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like it's really crazy how much. I got 5 chickens. I got Barry the
chickens,
cat,
bro,
like
yeah.
coming around. I live on a lake. Got a boat.
Yeah, dude.
I
I mean, you definitely are like I mean, I don't want to say because I don't want to downplay your struggles, but you are the poster child of what success in the music business looks like, for me at least. Like, as far as, I mean, you're not a superstar by any means, but like you set out to make it in the industry, and you did, bro.
Yeah.
Like you fucking did.
But I don't think of it that way.
I know you don't, and because you're a humble dude.
Right. But I've just always thought of it as like, I mean, I love working.
Right.
And I love people.
Yep. And those are that's a
and, like,
winning
success
combination, bro.
I don't know. I guess I don't know if it's like a level of ignorance or if it's a level of excellence where I always try to strive to try to be better. Let's just say that. Like, I don't want to be the best because I'll never call myself the best because there's always somebody
There's
better
always
than me.
somebody better, yep.
But I'm always a student.
Right.
I guess my success comes from just me fucking grinding every single day and just trying to be great at what I do and trying to learn as much as possible. I guess this stuff, like, this doesn't mean or matter really to me.
Right.
Like, it matters to me a lot that I can provide for my family.
Right.
That's a huge success. Like, if I can have a roof over my family's head and I can watch my son sleep at night, that's the true success.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like the fact that you're at a spot and you've been working to get to this spot where like you said, like you're able to provide, you're able to take care of your family, you have a nice home in a nice area. Like, that to me is like the epitome of success, bro. I mean, like, and you're modest and you're humble, and so like I know you don't look at it that way, but like that's what it is. And you're for the most part you're a happy fucking dude, and you're happy with your life and what you've done and what you've accomplished. That's success, bro. Like, and I know you won't say it that way, but like that's what it is, and that's what everybody should strive for.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Man, I mean, I just think it's just a gift and a blessing to like, really, it's just, I mean, I've said it 100 million times, and I guess it's weird, just because I don't do interviews, and what kind of like our little blurb before we got started here is that not a lot of people know what we know
Yeah.
or between each other as far as our
Right.
relationship. I always give my thanks and blessings up to the man upstairs. Um, and kind of like what you said before is like everything kind of snowballs into each other.
Yep.
And if I looked and if I pieced everything back from, even from Burger King, and from when I was 15, 20 years later, now I'm 35, I can link everything together and
Yep.
just see the connecting spider web of like the seeds of what I've planted from when I was young prospering into the fruit of like what I have
Yep.
now, you know? Um, you know,
And that's what greatness
and
is, bro. I
and
mean, I know you don't see it that way, like I said, but that's success, bro. That's the American dream in a nutshell, like achieved, you know.
oh,
And you did it from doing stuff that you love, like you said, like you never, after you decided I don't want to work a job that I don't want to work, you never did, and you've stayed true to that, and you've built this. Like, I mean, bro, I mean, I know it's hard to give yourself credit, man, but that deserves a lot of credit, man, because that's something that I'm still striving for in my own life. Like I'm I'm certain that I'm going to reach some level, but I know that it won't be until my 40s probably. But like, because I'm starting to kind of
that's
like,
fine.
things are starting to build for me. But I've gone on like, and I've always gone on like a different journey than everybody else. Like I've always just kind of like strayed from the herd a little bit in like my things.
You're on the 10-year journey.
I'm on the 10-year journey, exactly. I'm 10 years behind everybody. Like I always joke. But yeah, man. I mean, if I can say like, and that's why I wanted to get you on this podcast. I mean, not only because we're best friends, but if anybody wants anybody to look up to, you're a perfect dude for that. Because you're, I don't know, man. I mean, you're the most successful person I know as far as like your happiness level and what you've achieved and what you've done, man. So like it means a lot to me, and it's something that has always been a good influence, and I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, brother.
Now that we are in 2021, how have things been, like getting back into the groove of the live world?
It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, as I said, like summer, Minnesota, like it's absolutely insane. You call so many different production companies, especially this Saturday being the 25th. I don't know why, but everybody and their mother is booked, and there's a huge shortage of live guys.
Really?
As of right now, like if you
That makes sense.
like here's the thing, like people going to IPR or anybody trying to get into the music world, live is where it's at. You can do studio
That's
stuff.
true.
Like studio stuff is great, but like in order to make a studio afloat or only just do studio stuff, it is really tough. Like me being me, I have never supported myself 100% ever
on
studio work. However, this past year, now I can say that going vice versa. I've never supported myself 100% on just live stuff,
Right.
either, just because it's always a
two.
split. However, within the past 5 years, starting since 2014, that flip moment, since 2014 and 2015, really, I have worked for practically 3 companies in town that employ me as a subcontractor, 3 or 4. There's a few like trickles of another company in town as well that like I might take a gig from or whatnot.
Yep.
But there's like mainly 3 or 4 companies that employ me all of my time, and it's all live work.
Yeah.
So I mainly only do corporate work now. But as I said, it's summer now.
Yep.
So a big account that I handle is the Armory. So mixing there. So
Oh, nice.
doing a ton of work at the Armory. A ton of work just for corporate clients. the 3Ms, the General Mills, the blah 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 blahs,
Yep.
Target, just being an audio guy for their sales meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a ton of other companies out there that we've done a lot of private work for, like video shootings, and I'd be like on the audio, like capture, and mixing remote broadcasts as well.
Yep.
So the future, people have always asked me that, and it's kind of goes in the same realm of like the successes. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. I think I said this kind of like the last time I was on the podcast just a year ago. Is like, I don't know, if I'll be working tomorrow, but all I know is that I'm still going to keep a positive attitude.
Yep.
And
Crucial.
just hope and pray that God's got a plan. And I'm just going to kind of leave it in his hands and hope for the call.
Yep.
And I'll answer the call and see if it works. That's all I can really kind of strive for. And like, I don't try to push myself on others. Like, I don't try to I really don't try to schmooze people like into like buying me as like as a product,
right.
Or as a laborer or
Right.
as anything, like if you want to work together, like, let's do it,
Right.
if it works out, like if the gig is right, I'll be there, and as far as like the entertainment business being there, I mean, it survived 2020, so it's going to survive 21,
Yep.
and it's going to survive 2022. It's
Yep.
been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's just going to keep evolving. People are going to find new ways to do things and different ways of doing things. That's the way I view it.
Adapt.
I mean, like 2020, bro, and I finally went to a tax guy, which I've never done before. Like, and I didn't make
the best day of
I
your
didn't make
life.
that much on my side hustle, but at the same time, like I was going through like my mom's stuff during that time, and so I asked for an extension, and just the other day, he was like, "What's your forecast for how much you're gonna make for 2021?" Because he just wanted to know that, and I I added up all my invoices and stuff, and I'm like, "Damn, it's September, and I've already made more than I made last year on my side hustle," and I didn't even realize it just because I've been doing the work and I've been mourning my mom and like all this stuff, and I'm like, damn, I actually grew this year.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. So it's just like you don't really think about it until, I don't remember my exact point, but you don't really think about it until you kind of look back and you're just like, damn, like, okay, I just got to keep my head forward and keep the faith and keep moving,
Yeah.
And that's what I've always admired about you too, is your faith, bro. I mean, I have never been like, this is what I believe in God. Like, I believe in a higher power and stuff like that. But you have always been steadfast about your faith. You've always kept it, so close to you, and you've never been preachy or judgmental, and you are like exactly the way that I think is a perfect example of how Christians, I don't want to say should, because I don't want to put that judgment on people, but you are a very good example of faith, and
I definitely should not be a poster boy of Christianity either.
Right.
I'm far from
exactly. But at the same time, like, your faith is a huge part of your life, and it's always been admirable because you've never let it. It's never been a negative aspect of in our friendship or our lives, when like some people,
nor should it ever be
Right.
in anybody. Like, that's the thing, is like society is turning towards their religion or culture and stating that it's 100% correct, and if you're not that, then you're wrong.
Right.
And that's the complete opposite of what Jesus taught.
Right.
Like, take Jesus as a savior or just a crazy guy. He taught love.
Right.
That's his basis.
Exactly.
That's what I try to teach,
Yep.
is just love. You lead with love, you can't go wrong. Somebody's going to hate on you because you're loving them.
Right.
Like, I have completely changed people's minds because I gave them a little bit of love.
Yep.
You know, change people's attitudes, even like in the workplace, at a show. I flat out told this chick at a Lauryn Hill concert, she was like about to swing at
I remember
Amy,
this story. Yeah.
and I'm not going to tell the whole story, but
Yep.
here's pretty much the nugget, is that this chick was about to like get up, and she actually did get up in Amy's face once. And then the second time she was about to open her mouth, and as she opened her mouth to like yell at Amy, I was like, yo, I was like, you just need to have a little love in your life. And she's just like,
I mean, you're at a Lauryn Hill concert. Like, come on.
she got shut down. I was just like, you know what your problem is? You need a little bit more love in your life. And she was just like, her jaw just dropped. And like, I could almost like see tears in her eyes. Like she didn't, but she was
Wow.
just like, and she turned around and just like, didn't say anything for the rest of the
Wow.
night. Like she was super, like she was a loud person. Like she was
Obnoxious,
She
yeah.
was obnoxious. She was pushing against us and like being super hyphy, I guess is what the
Yep.
kids say these days. And like she like was pushing us, and like we were like on the railing.
Mm-hmm.
And like she like budged in front of us, like she almost like she pushed us out of where we were at, because we were there first. Like we were on the railing, we had a really nice cozy spot. Like it was our spot. Like we were sitting there was nobody in front of us. We got there super early, like right at doors. And she just came up from behind us and like pushed us out of the way, and I was like, okay, cool, that's fine, I'm not gonna cause a big stink. Like, Amy will sit right behind her, and I'll be right behind Amy, and this will be fine. But, yeah, I shut her down with just saying, look, you need a little bit more love in your life. And she, you know, what's crazy is that by the end of the show, she, like, started talking to us. And she was, like, singing with us.
Wow.
Like, singing the songs. And she completely flipped. It's like she went
She's
from
just
like crazy chick.
He's freaking right. Yeah.
To like having a good time, and like we were like doing it as a crowd,
Right.
as a group, you know.
And you never know what kind of thing, like you could say something that's gonna change. You could have changed that girl's life right there. Like she could have left there and like completely like thought about that. You know, anytime she wanted to get too hyphy or whatever. And like I mean, you just never know, bro.
That's the thing, and that's I mean that's true. I think that's true Christianity.
Yeah.
You know, what did Christ do? You know, he gave the ultimate sacrifice of being stoked and just saying, I'm going to love the world. I'm going to love you even if you hate me.
Right.
I'm going to love you. So, you know, again, coming down to like me and interacting with people, if I can show just a little bit of love in this life, how can anybody hate me?
Yep.
You know, how could, you know, there has been some haters. That's what's really discouraging, is that there has been some haters that have kind of tried to bring me down. But what's crazy and what's great is that now, being 15 years in a music career and being 35 and having a wife and a kid, and just knowing myself, like back in the day, I was really self-conscious about myself. But now I just don't care.
Yeah.
Just because I know myself,
Yep.
I know who I am, I know what I'm about.
Yep.
And again, it comes down to, if I lead with love,
Yep.
who's gonna hate on it?
Yep. I finally got to that point as well. I feel like I'm getting a lot better with that. I mean, because up until the last few years, I was never a hateful person. I was always, you know me, like, you know how I've been, but like I kind of had a chip on my shoulder, you know, for about the world and about this and that, and it took all of 2020 of like, you know, being with myself a lot, and like then my mom passing to really just like completely flip something in my brain. And it's only been 3 months, so it's still kind of, I'm still changing, I feel like, but I feel like once she passed, I'm like, that was like the biggest love in my life besides like my girlfriend and like, some other people, but like the biggest, like my first knowing love, and like with the way that she was towards everybody. I mean, most people that knew her knew she was a loving person, and she just set like a tone everywhere she went, where she just like lit up every room. And I'm like, how can I even spread any ounce of like negativity in the world when I had that, light, and like now that light is gone, so I need to be that.
Yep.
And so like I really always admired the way that you have viewed things and the way that you treat people and stuff like that. And um yeah, man, I think I'm finally at a point where like, yeah, I know who I am too, and I know what I've done, and I know what kind of positivity I want to bring the world. And I think we we need more people to adopt that motto and that view. And that's the way you've always been, man, and I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you.
Well, bro, thank you so much
Thank you for having me.
for your friendship, for hosting and using this gear and this beautiful setting and backdrop, man, and 17 years of friendship, man. You're the shit. Thank you.
Love you, bro.
Love you, bro.